Here, what do you think is holding back crypto e-commerce? Does crypto make sense for e-commerce, or should it be only investment? So I absolutely do not believe that it should be an investment. Or I might walk that back a little bit. You have to think about it in terms of economies. Don't think about it in terms of the technology. Think about it in terms of the economy. So there's multiple things that we have to pull apart there. What is holding back crypto e-commerce? I think in a way, we need an Apple. We've got a bunch of PCs that are all fighting to be in some weird way compatible with their own proprietary protocols and just really doing a bad job at it. There are some legal issues in terms of different countries. I don't even want to go into the politics on it right now, or I do, but I don't. And for one thing, we need an Apple, and that's what I think Dash could be positioned to be. But I think there's too many people in the Dash community presently that think of Dash as a cryptocurrency rather than thinking of Dash as digital cash. And Dash is digital cash. That's the Apple approach. That's the win. Dash as a cryptocurrency is just stupid because it's just one more indistinguishable thing that nobody understands amongst a bunch of other indistinguishable things that nobody understands, right? So, but let's unpack that. What does that mean? There needs to be an Apple. And this goes into the economy factor, right? So you could invest in the US dollar. That would be a terrible investment, by the way. But you could invest in the US dollar. If you remember back around, 2004 or so, there were all these people that were investing in dinars. I don't remember if that was Afghan or Iran or Iraq, or it was some country that we were invading and overturning their government. And I say we, I don't actually mean we, I mean the radicals in the government that pull the strings and do things that are generally bad for the world and America. But anyway, and so a lot of people thought because the economy of one of these countries was going to crash, but then because of our presence, it was going to build back better. And so people were investing in dinars. Because they thought that the price of dinars had dropped and it was gonna go way back up, and so they were gonna make a lot of money on it. And that's kind of the idea of investing in an economy. You think that a group of people, say a country, is not very stable, but you think it's going to become stable, and so if it becomes stable, then the value of its dollar is going to rise. In the sphere of cryptocurrencies and digital currencies, which we need to distinguish between those, because most cryptocurrencies cannot be used as a digital currency because the transaction fees are so high that you can't use them, right? So Dash, you can buy bread with Dash. You can literally buy bread with Dash. Literally. I have a Dash debit card. I can go to Walmart. I can buy bread with Dash, and the cost of bread does not increase because I'm purchasing it, right? And if you were to try to do that with most cryptocurrencies, which are intended to be this investment thing that's all about hype, then you'd end up paying $15 or $30 or $40 or $100 in transaction fee to be able to spend $3 on bread, right? So that doesn't make sense. So you have to have something that's like Dash for commerce to work at all. But then you also have to have the full economy. You can't invest in cryptocurrencies as a product because there's generally no product there. It's the same as an MLM, right? You meet somebody who's going to sell you $2 granola bars for $5 each, but what they're really selling you is the opportunity to invest in a $5,000 package of granola bars and home products so that you can then go sell $2 granola bars for $5 to other people. But what you'll actually be selling is the opportunity for them to invest in a $5,000 box of home products, right? So that's the idea of the MLM, and that's the idea of a lot of these cryptocurrencies is there's no real product. There's nothing that's actually better. In fact, typically everything about it is worse than your existing alternatives, just like with an MLM. The granola bar isn't better than, what's the brand name granola bar? Is it Quaker Oats or something like that? General Mills? I don't remember, but you get a box of the chewy granola bars, and the granola bar you get from Amway or whatever, it's not a better granola bar. It's a worse granola bar that costs more. And that's what most cryptocurrencies are. They don't function better in any particular way. They just cost more, and you have the ability to invest in them, right? So again, there's a lot to unpack here. But let's kind of put that one in a box and move along. So then if you consider not the investment, because and you can invest in things because just there's always hype cycles, right? So you can invest in stuff and maybe you win and maybe you lose, but there's not a product, there's not a technology. But if you could develop an economy, which is what we're trying to do here, that's literally what I'm working on, is helping to develop an economy, meaning that you can purchase goods and services natively in this digital cash, right? So we can have an API service, and there's some dog fooding here because what we're working on is an API service for payments. So that's a little bit cyclical, and you could start to make the MLM argument. Well, like, all you're doing is selling access to sell access to sell access, which in this particular case is true, but only because it's bootstrapping, right? It's dog fooding and it's bootstrapping. Economies of scale is not what I'm talking about right now. And then Kuwait might be what I was talking about with the dinars. I'm not sure. I don't remember what it was. But anyway, we need to have a cyclic economy where you get paid in Dash and you pay in Dash, and that there's a clear benefit to this. And I think where the clear benefit lies is, in fact, the niche is in micropayments, because there's no other way to do that right now that I'm aware of. I don't think anybody is solving the problem of micropayments. Certainly nobody in the traditional spaces. Visa has no interest in solving that problem. PayPal's not solving that problem, right? Transaction fees on most networks are whole percentage points, typically tending towards 10% when you've got all of the stuff factored in. If you sell something on eBay or heaven forbid on Amazon, I just don't know how you do it unless you're selling millions of items and you're in their highest tier where you're paying to lower your fees. And, it's just impossible to, if you want to sell something for less than $10 on the existing platforms, it's just not really doable between the platform fees, the credit card fees, the taxes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Within the Dash ecosystem, again, think of it as a country, think of it as Dash Nation, right? So you're paying taxes in Dash Nation as part of your transaction fees, but they're very, very small, right? They're less than a percentage point. And so you can actually build out a network of services. We don't really have it yet, but we could. And if there's a network of services where you can go full circle on everything, that's when also it will stabilize. So sometimes, it's the tortoise and the hare. Do you want to invest in the thing for the short term or for the long term? So if you were thinking about an investment in a cryptocurrency, you have to think about, what does it represent? What is it trying to do? Right? And if all it's trying to do is just be a tool for investment, for a replacement for stocks or whatever, that's not going to work, because you're competing against a machine that you can't compete against. If the legislators and the people that are in bed with them if they've all been colluding to get where they've gotten, and they're able to manipulate the law to get where they want to go, then what we're going to see is just more regulation of the same, right? So I don't think that a cryptocurrency that is performing the function of an investment for a company, I don't think that's really going to work out, because it's just going to get regulated out of existence, and it's going to be more costly to use that than to do other things. So in the short term, yeah, a couple of companies were able to do this, that, or the other where the regulation was uncertain. But if you want to consider in terms of the economy side, investing in Dash could be good from the sense that if Dash accomplishes its goals, which it is accomplishing them, like I said, I can go to Walmart and I can buy bread with Dash. The last trip that my wife made to Walmart, I believe that she actually paid in Dash. Or there is a separate step there, because you basically get a Walmart gift card and then you trade. Anyway, but the thing is, it's possible, and it's not that inconvenient. It's maybe an extra. Well, actually, no, I don't think it's any extra steps, because you just add it in the Walmart app and then there you go. So anyway, my point being, since Dash is working on all these things, it's working on tools for merchant services, it's working on the integration with the existing infrastructure, especially with Dash Direct and the debit card and all that, it may develop a stable economy that's actually useful. And it is, for me, it's already useful for doing international payments. So there's somebody that I trade Dash across the pond, and it makes things a lot simpler for both of us, because as of right now, as far as I'm aware, Dash is an asset, like a bicycle is an asset. And so it makes it really easy for us to just trade, and then not have to worry about the forms and the regulations and all that stuff. We can just, as consenting adults, decide how we want to live our lives and what we want to provide back and forth, and just do it. And I am worried that that's going to get regulated out. But anyway, I hope that made enough sense, is kind of where my head's at and what I'm seeing and what I'm thinking. Feel free to ask a follow-up question there. I'll check over in the chat here too. But yeah, I think that what Dash is doing is putting things on the right track. I think that this right here is critically important. This must exist in order for a digital currency to take hold. And yeah, I mean, if you want to play the game, just like gambling, right? If you know the rules of the game and you know the math and you know how things are going to work out, you can turn a profit. I don't know why it's illegal for people to, I forget what the term they have for it is, but when you go in a casino and you know what machine they have and you read the specs of the machine, so you know what the tells are, how the random number generation works and stuff like that. I guess the generic term is card counting. It seems that if the casino is going to rip you off, then you should be able to use your own brain to, arrive at the situation to get the money out of the machine. But whatever. But that's kind of how I see the cryptocurrency investment is. The people that are winning are card counting. They're just looking at tells. They're looking at things that they understand about, not about the value of that currency, but about how people react and how trading algorithms work, etc. And there's, I forget the name of it, but my brother-in-law, he gave me this course that I think it was called the Crypto Backer or something like that. And he explains the algorithms. Blockchain Backer. That's this dude. And he's got a course that you can buy. I don't remember how much it is. I think it's in the realm of $30 or $100, something like that. So this guy, if you're interested in just making money and kind of learning how to do the card counting, this is the guy. Okay. Maybe an app like DoorDash that pays only in, and I don't like using the term crypto because it's not accurate. Cryptography is something entirely different, and a digital currency is something entirely different. Dash is a digital currency that happens to be a fork of a cryptocurrency, but it doesn't serve the same purpose. It's different. Anyway, yeah, I think it's going to have to be online. I don't think it's going to be something like DoorDash, because with DoorDash, you're entering into a network of existing economies. So you're tapping into the fast food economy, right? And in order for this to work out, you don't want to have to pay exchange fees and stuff. By the way, which is another great thing about Dash, because you don't have to deal with exchange fees, because you can use the Dash debit card and then you can skip the exchange fees and you can go just straight across with stuff. But you would be taking money. I don't think that it's going to win on a moral basis, right? Moral purchases work well for something like Kickstarter, but they don't succeed with the long tail. So people get all hyped up about privacy or this, that, and the other. And it sounds really cool. And, you get your bro points or whatever it is. But then once you've sold to that group of customers on the Kickstarter, the problem is that you have no more customers. They're done. You've exhausted your supply. So when you make a moral marketing decision, if you try to make a moral business, it's morally better to use a digital currency. You're not going to win. You can get a big hype train, but you don't cross the chasm. So I don't think that something like DoorDash is going to work. I think that it's going to be online services like what we're building here and what I've been building with the Dash Day Pass. Okay. We'll have a network of services. We are ETH, but better. I think this is entirely the wrong framing. I like the network of services, but ETH, but better, I think is the wrong framing, because if you say we're ETH, but better, then immediately you're just throwing Dash under the bus with all the cryptocurrencies and not letting it stand out as a digital currency. Let's see. Yeah, Walmart, Best Buy, Outback. Yep. You can use the Dash Direct debit card at lots of places, and you can use the gift cards to get discounts. And I think the gift cards are the best things to use when you can, because I think those are the most difficult to regulate, because a gift card is an asset and a bicycle is an asset and Dash is an asset. And so there's not a point of ambiguity that where regulation, I don't think really has room to creep in. But with the Dash debit card, I think you don't have to have KYC, meaning know your customer. So you can put in a fake email address, a fake street address, whatever. And I don't think that, I could be wrong. I don't think that that's doing anything illegal. I don't think that those are required. But in any case, you can put in just bogus information, whatever you want, and it's not actually checked on the Dash Direct side. But whereas it's kind of this debit card, is it still an asset? Or are you now being subject to regulatory concerns? That's something where I prefer the Dash Direct gift card approach on that. Perhaps Dash Wallet will compete with Venmo. Not a chance. Maybe Dash Pay, that upcoming new app. But I think that some people are going to have to get off their high horse about paper wallets and sweeping, because there's been a lot of just stupid decisions. I won't come on that strong. I don't need to come on that strong. I think they're poor decisions that have been made with the current Dash Wallet app, where it should just say scan, and if you scan a QR code that you're swiping, it should work. And if you scan a QR code that has a payment amount associated with it, it should work. If you're scanning what should be an XPub key for a contact, it should work. And they've made it more difficult to use the swiping feature of paper wallets, where you just paper wallet, meaning that the money is in the QR code. The QR code is a private key. They've made that more difficult a few times now. It seems that they've intentionally made that difficult, or just maybe just through lack of thought. And then we could just do paper wallets through URLs. So I could just send you a dash URL that has money on it. I could text that to you, and you could click it, and it could open up in the Dash app. But that's not been implemented. And I think that that is a shame. I think that that really should be implemented. But this also goes back to something that I really believe in about using the current internet that we have and the decentralized nature of domains, rather than relying on the centralized distributed hash table, where you could give someone a link to your own domain. Because if you send someone in a text message, if they don't have the app installed, then the app URL may not open. It may not become highlighted for them to click on it. But if you had a personal domain that you could send, then that could redirect them to the app without giving away the private key that's contained in the link that has the money. And so you could construct something where it's decentralized and it's very secure for doing payments.